Welcome to the Scholar Trek panel on historically Black colleges and universities. We have two wonderful colleges participating in this panel. Today we have Florida Memorial University and Savannah State University. Panelists, thank you so much for being here. We know that each of your schools offers wonderful experiences and as historically Black colleges and universities, and we're excited to share this information with our viewers. Following the panel, we strongly encourage you to go to each of these colleges' virtual booths to get more information about their programs and to get connected with their admissions team. And with that, we will get started. I'd like to ask each of you to introduce yourself and talk about your university. Perhaps share one fun fact about your institution that sets you apart from the others. And we'll start with Florida Memorial.
Good morning. My name is Nick Remarco. I am the Assistant Director of Admissions at Florida Memorial University, the only HBCU in South Florida, located in warm and sunny Miami, Florida. One fun fact I'd like to share about our school is that we are a tiny campus of about 1,100 students. This allows us to limit our average classroom size to about 18 to 19. We do not believe in a lecture hall style of education. Our style is more experiential and hands-on, a hands-on experience.
Great, thank you very much. And now we'll go to Savannah State.
Good morning, my name is Brian Dawsey and I serve as the Director of Admissions here at Savannah State University. Savannah State University was established on November 26, 1890. We're the oldest public, historically Black institution in the state of Georgia, as well as the oldest institution of higher education here in the city of Savannah. One fun fact that I can share about our institution, in addition to being located in the beautiful historic city of Savannah, we're also located on the coast. So one of our programs, Marine Sciences, those students have the opportunity to go into the intercontinental waterway and be able to do a lot of hands-on research. And our institution has been ranked #1 in the nation for graduating students of color in the bachelor's and master's degree of marine science.
Thank you very much. Would you please share some of the positive aspects and advantages of attending an HBCU? And let's start with Savannah State.
One that I can think of right offhand is the concept of family. I always tell the students as they are coming into our institution that as they are coming from their biological family, they're coming to now their tiger family, where they will have an extension of aunts and uncles and grandparents or the like that will ensure that they are doing what they need to do on campus, assist them when need be, correct them when necessary, but in essence, push them to be the very better versions of themselves, so that way they can go back to their respective communities and be a positive impact in whatever field that they're looking at majoring into. Also coming on to an HBCU, students have an opportunity to learn about themselves. We definitely push on the academic side of African studies, so students will know who they are, whose they are, and know where they come and the expectation as they move forward.
Thank you. And let's go to Florida Memorial.
I agree with what Mr. Dawsey said, especially about the family feel on campus. I'll also say that when you do attend an HBCU, you have access to an alumni database that is as passionate as any alumni database you'll find anywhere. So when you talk about people that graduated from an HBCU, they bleed those colors the rest of their life. And that's all they want to do is give back to their university. And when it comes to looking for jobs, internships, financing your education, you'll never be more entrenched in a community than you will be in an HBCU community, because those alumni, they never leave.
And I will agree to that, because as an alum of my institution, yes, we do definitely believe in giving back in so many different ways.
That's great. Thank you very much. So what resources and opportunities are available to students for academic success on your campus? We'll start with FMU.
Coming in as a freshman, we have a center called our Center for Academic Resource Support. The acronym is short for CARS. And what we do there is we just try to push you from being a high school senior to a college sophomore. That includes peer mentoring, tutoring, academic advisement, learning labs, ADA accessibility for learning. And, you know, it's to help you with that transition from being a high school senior that's living at home with your parents and pushing you into becoming a successful college student and making it to your sophomore year. Statistics show us that most students either drop out or lose their financial aid at the completion of their freshman year. So we want to make sure we at least push you into becoming a sophomore.
Great, thank you. Savannah?
And likewise, we have what is called the CSS, which is our Center for Student Success. And with that student success resource, what they do is it is a host of advisors that we have for our students. And these advisors work with our students from freshman year all the way up to their senior year. In addition to that academic advisement, we do have tutoring opportunities. We have opportunities for students who may want to take certain tests if they want to exempt from various different classes. Both of those tutorial sessions are offered both in person and online. And these are free services that we offer to our students. So I always tell them help is not a bad word. If you're at the institution and you need that support, here's some resources that we offer both online and in person that will help you. We have a math specialist to help those students who maybe have issues in math. We have a reading and writing specialist that can help those students who may need assistance in writing, and as well as just someone to proofread their work to make sure everything is congruent and up to standards as it relates to an academic writing. So those are resources are there. And also we have opportunities for those students who are high achievers. They can actually come and work in there as tutors. So there's also employment opportunities for them as well.
Thank you both very much. So you talked a little bit about support for academic success, but what type of resources and opportunities do you have for experiential learning on your campus? And we'll start this with Savannah State.
Now we have several aspects on our campus for that experiential learning. One thing I'm thinking about in right offhand, especially when I think about our College of Sciences and Technology, we actually have a grant office that has written grants and has received money for students to do research. Though we're not considered a research institution, a lot of our students within those sciences, as well as in the business and also within the social sciences colleges, have an opportunity to actually work alongside with faculty members, and working with those faculty members, they have an opportunity to do research and write papers and do presentations that will help them, especially when they're looking at progressing into grad school. We also, through student affairs, have opportunities for those students through community service initiatives, as well as internships and apprenticeships, that those students can be able to work into some of the fields that they would like to major in. So that way they can see if they have a like in that actual discipline, and then that can help them move forward in their degree program.
So for me, and I like Mr. Dossi talking about community service, because I come from a community outreach background, and we have many student clubs and orgs outside of your fraternities and sororities, but that focus on community service and outreach. So just as an example, it's the Tuesday before Thanksgiving. So on campus, we are doing a turkey distribution for the community today, where our students are actually distributing Thanksgiving meals and some gift cards to local families that are in need. We do offer study abroad as a way to really learn about your field in the areas and countries that are known for that field. So we do offer that. I'm going to get into our IWAR program a little bit later when it comes to internship placement, but they also work very hard to secure financing and scholarships for our current students. You know, as an admissions team, we recruit and we give academic scholarships to high school seniors that are going to be coming in as freshmen. But what about our current students? Well, they help our current students land grant money and scholarship money to help finance their education.
Okay, thank you very much. And that was a great segue to our next question, which is, what type of career services or graduate school guidance do you offer your students, and how do you assist students in their post-college plans? And we'll start with Florida Memorial.
So our school only has 2 graduate degrees that we offer currently, which is a MBA and education specialist. Outside of that, we do work with placement into other grad schools, especially because our biggest program on campus is biology, which is a pre-med program for us. Since we don't have the actual medical school on our campus, but there are many universities in Miami, including the University of Miami, that has huge medical programs. We do work with those universities, UM and FIU, on placement. When it comes to career guidance and career services, our IROAR program, that is their entire focus, is getting students career ready. That's helping them write their first resume. That's working with them on job interview skills, because if you're not good at public speaking, or you've never been on a job interview, you're likely to bomb your first one, because it's a difficult thing to do. So we work with students on their interview skills. And then every semester, we bring in anywhere from 50 to 100 businesses that come to our campus to recruit our students, to hire them for internships. The Miami Dolphins are a good example. They just reached out to me last week. They're holding 5 internships for our students. With our aviation program, we have anywhere from 25 to 30 internships held a year between American Airlines, Southwest Airlines, and Spirit Airlines. You factor in that our aviation program only has about 60 students. You're talking about half of them have internships saved for them annually. So it's not just helping you look in the right direction. We have businesses that save internships just for our students.
Thank you very much. And let's go to Savannah State.
And when we talk about career services, we actually have a career service office. And Mr. Shed Dawson, who is our director, has worked definitely diligently and working with the various different business community to ensure that our students have both placement and job opportunities. One that I'm thinking of is a big company in our area, which is Gulfstream, that produces a lot of the airplanes that a lot of the businesses use. A lot of our students have internships with Gulfstream. We also have a platform that is called Handshake. And with that platform, it has all the various different jobs, both on and off campus, as well as internships that students can participate in. We also have a career fair that we host twice a year, that we have various different businesses around the state and abroad that come and recruit our students for their jobs, as well as some of the services that we offer in the career service office, as it was mentioned by Nick, the resume preparation, we do interview preparation, also, what are some of the do's and don'ts when you're looking at going to jobs. You would think that in this age, a lot of folks would know what are those business soft skills, and a lot of our students don't know what those business soft skills are, even going to the point of telling them what to dress and how to dress. Because we think a lot of students understand what business attire means, and sometimes a lot of students don't know what business attire means. And we also have an actual clothes closet that we have for those students. So for those students who may not have business attire, then we have that closet that students can be able to go into and can get that, get those clothes, so that way they can address appropriately for whatever interview or whatever job that they're applying for. With regards to graduate school, we actually have a graduate program at Savannah State. There are about around 5 to 6 graduate programs that we have. So we work in tandem with some of those students who are graduating. And matter of fact, just had a conversation with our director of graduate studies, who's as we get closer to the end of the semester, is going to make his rounds to a lot of the senior classes to talk with them about some of the graduate programs that we offer at Savannah State, as well as some of the graduate programs that actually come on to the campus that we may not have at Savannah State, and kind of just helping them kind of make that nudge to go ahead, if grad school is the next step, to make sure that they are prepared for that. Also with biology, that's one of the largest majors that we have on campus. So we also do preparation with tests. So for the MCAT, for those students who are medical students, the LSAT, for those who are interested in law, we have those services as well to kind of help those students make sure they make that transition into post-college, if that's what they want to do.
It all sounds great. Those are amazing programs. Oops. All right, so what are you looking for in prospective students beyond test scores and GPA, and what type of student will thrive on your campus? And let's start with Savannah State.
Well, in looking at prospective students, what our institution, because we're with the university system of Georgia, so they set the criteria that students would need to have in order to be admitted. So basically for us, GPA and or test scores are what they would need. Now I can put this as a note and a caveat for our students who are graduating fall 2023, and that's just for the students who are graduating, in coming fall 2023 only. We are test optional. So what that means is that students who have at least a B average in their academic classes, English, math, science, social science, and foreign language, if they have a B in those courses, we can accept them test optional. And then for those who may not have that 3.0 GPA, then they have to have the required SAT or ACT test score. So we look at the test scores, we look at GPA, but the type of student that would thrive on campus is the one that is connected. When I always tell students, I always let them know that it's more to the academic paradigm than just the four walls of a classroom. So you will, of course, you come into the institution to get your education because that's why you're there. But the way you thrive is when you get involved and you get immersed in the college culture, in the college campus. So I always encourage students, find ways to get connected. We have about 75 different clubs and organizations that range from academic to special interest to student government. We have class officers, we have fraternities and sororities. That's how you build your network. And I always tell students, your network is going to determine your net worth. So when you're talking about how you're going to matriculate through the institution and how you're going to go on to the next step in regards to either graduate school or going into a job, these networks that you form, not only with your students, but with faculty and staff, would definitely come in handy when you need recommendation letters, when you need references, and having that connection will help propel you not only academically, but also will prepare you socially, because it helps you to understand how to work in groups, how to, determine what's your leadership style, and how to be able to meet students who may come from different backgrounds, who may come from different ideologies, religious thoughts, ethnicity, and know how to be able to work in conjunction with those who may have a different perspective from the world that you have. So that way you can be successful.
Great advice. All right, let's go to Florida Memorial.
So for us, we are a private school and we can create our own admissions requirements based off of what we think is best. And for us, we are a test optional school, so we don't look at SATs or ACTs for admissions. We also waive application fees, we waive essay requirements, and we waive letters of recommendation. So when we go to admit a student, we're really only looking at your high school GPA, and our requirement to get in is a 2.4 weighted GPA. For us as an admissions team, because we process so many applications, it's impossible for us to actually recruit and stay on top of, we have a recruitment team of 4 people. We had 12,000 accepted students last year. It's impossible to stay on top of that many. So what we look for when we talk about recruitment and the students we're trying to actually bring in are students that actually have a passion for the school and want to be here. And that becomes very apparent to us early. When it comes for students thriving on campus, and this may not make sense, but it does make sense. And Mr. Dossi will know exactly what I'm talking about because he kind of mentioned it already. Students that come here just to go to class and just to study, that's great that you want to focus on your academics, but you're not going to thrive on campus. Students that thrive on campus not only build relationships with current students, but that's your support system. When you're away from your family, like Mr. Dossi said earlier, this is your next family. And to be able to have a support section of students that are going through the same thing you're going through, being a first-time college student, moving away from their family, that helps you out through the tough times. They're also going to be your study group. They're going to be the future bridesmaids and best men at your wedding. It's a lifelong relationship you're building. Then when it comes time for you to look for jobs and move up in your career, these are the same people you're going to reach out to, and they may know somebody that knows somebody. And that starts when you get here. And that's why we say it's a family feel, because families last forever. I went to a school that was not an HBCU and was not a family feel. And I can be honest and say, I don't have any friends from that school. I don't know anybody that I graduated with. Things are so different here. And when you jump in with both feet and decide you're going to entrench yourself. You're going to get involved with community service. You're going to become part of student orgs and clubs. You're going to play intramural sports. You're going to do Greek life. You're going to do all those things. It helps you out as a support system to get through those first few years of college.
Thank you very much. All right, so how do students learn more about your university, and are there any special programs that you offer around admissions? And we'll start with Florida Memorial.
So nobody's ever going to say that there is a lack of communication that goes out from Florida Memorial University. We send out many emails about everything going on in the city, about things going on our campus. We like to keep our prospective students well informed. You're never going to say, oh, nobody contacted me, there was no outreach. We make sure we send you everything. We do virtual programs. We just did our first virtual accepted student program last week. We do virtual one-on-ones with counselors. We do virtual meet and greets. We do in-person open houses, in-person accepted student days. We do tours Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. and 3 p.m. We do tours once a month on Saturdays. We have invitations to come out to some of our sporting events so that if you're interested in playing basketball, you're interested in playing volleyball, you can come out and meet the coaches. So since we are such a small campus, there is access to just about everything you want, and we'll send that out to you via email as soon as you either apply, we get your information, we make sure you are well informed.
Thank you. And let's go to Savannah State.
Well, students can learn about our university by going to our website, www.savannahstate.edu. And when you go to that website, it's going to give you all the information in regards to our academic programs, as well as if you go to our undergraduate and graduate admissions link, it's going to give you information on how to apply, going to give you information on those requirements that I had mentioned earlier, as well as you get to learn about the degree programs that we offer at Savannah State, both those majors and even some minors, if you want to minor in a few programs. Also learn in regards to our tuition classification. One of the things that we offer with Savannah State is what we call the border state waiver. So those students who live in our bordering states, and that includes Alabama, Tennessee, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Florida, will get the in-state tuition. So we talk a little bit more about that. And then also we give communication. So once students go to our site and actually click on our link to request information and put their name and contact information in, then yeah, they will be notified via various different emails about the institution, ways they can come and visit some of our yield programs that we have on campus, to include open houses, our admitted student days, as well as our shadow day, where students can be able to come and learn about the academics and actually sit in a classroom, because we actually do mock classes where they can sit in the class and they get a feel of what it is to be in a college campus. But definitely savannahstate.edu will have the hub of all the information that a student would need to know about our institution.
Thank you both for sharing that. All right, so what can students do to prepare themselves for success at your university? And I think more specifically, you talked about some of the things where how students who thrive, but what can they be doing in high school that will prepare them? Let's start with Savannah State.
Definitely glad you mentioned that question, Laura, because one of the things that I tell students about preparing is that you have to start early, meaning your 9th grade year in high school. Because what folks don't understand is that when we look at the transcript, we look at all 4 years. And what I've seen is students kind of start off slow and not do well their freshman or their sophomore year. Somewhere around their junior year, the light bulb comes on, and then senior year, they get it. But when you're preparing for college, you have to start your 9th grade year, and also make sure that you're taking the required courses that you need in order to attend the institution. So look at the websites, go to Florida, go to our website and look at those classes. We require what is called 17 required high school courses, to include 4 units of an English, 4 units of a math, 4 units of a science, 3 units of a social science, and 2 units of a foreign language in the same sequence. I mention that because we see a lot of students have issues with their math sequence. So for example, with us in the University System of Georgia, you need an Algebra 1, you need a geometry, an Algebra 2, and a fourth math that is above the Algebra 2. So Algebra 3, a statistics, a trig, college algebra, mathematical modeling. I've seen students take financial algebra and or mathematics of finance, and those maths do not count as a fourth math. So I tell students to be involved in their academics, meaning get with their assigned counselors and make sure that he or she is putting them in the correct courses. So that way they are set up for success when they come to the college or campus. But it starts ninth grade year. You have to be focused the ninth grade year. Again, like I said, I see students kind of start off bad and then they kind of pick it up at the end. As it was mentioned on this platform today, there are GPA requirements. So you got to make sure that when we're looking at those GPA requirements, we're looking ninth grade through senior year. We're not just looking at your senior grades, we're looking at all four. So the best way is to make sure that starting in ninth grade, that student take those classes. Also, I see a lot of students do dual enrollment. So they take classes at the college campus. If that student can do dual enrollment, that would help them as well, because most likely they're taking their core classes, and with those core classes, they would transfer to any of the institutions. So that way they have a leg up on some of their peers. I know here in the state of Georgia, we offer dual enrollment and students can take up to 30 hours while they're in high school. So just imagine, you take 30 hours, that is 1 year. So you're coming out of high school, going into college, and possibly having a whole year taken off your degree program because you have taken those classes at the high school level. So those are just a few things that compare. And also seniors, for those who are seniors, start the scholarship process early. If you have a B average or higher, there is no reason why you should have to take out loans to support the financing of your education. If you have that B average, start applying for scholarships. My rule of thumb is that seniors right now should be applying between 30 to 40 scholarships a week. And that's if they want their complete college fund paid for, and that is possible. But don't let a 500-word essay stop you from applying for a scholarship. And whether it's 500 or 5,000, apply for it all, because it does help.
That is great advice. All right, let's go to Florida Memorial.
So, you got to look at everything as kind of linear, right? So when you're in middle school prepares you for high school. In high school, they're supposed to prepare you for college. And there's so many bad habits that can be picked up along the way that need to be dropped before you get into a university. As a high school student, you need to start working a little bit more independently, because when you come to a university, when you go to a college, professors are not going to babysit you. Professors are not going to call mom and dad and say, oh, you missed class or you're behind on your homework. I mean, they can't, and they're not going to. It's on you to be able to stay on top of yourself and stay on top of your coursework. That's why you go to high schools, to get you ready for this transition. And a lot of students get lost along that way because they show up here and they're waiting for somebody to tell them what to do. They're waiting for someone to kind of hold their hand and push them into the next thing. And at this point, you are an adult and you need to be responsible for yourself. And that goes back to even the scholarship search. When you come to this university and now you're starting to look for money because you realize how expensive it is 3 weeks before you're going to start classes, you're too late. There's no reason you can't start applying from your freshman year, and every scholarship that you see, apply to, even if you don't think you qualify for it, apply to it, because you never know. We had a student that's an aeronautical science major apply for a computer science scholarship through the UNCF, and they awarded it to him based off of how good his essay was. So you never know. There's no free money that's worth turning down or not working for, because the last thing you want to do is have to take out $10,000, $15,000 a year in student loans, because that $10,000, $15,000 a year is going to end up costing you $100,000, once you graduate. So there's no reason that, like Mr. Dossi said, you can't finance your education by planning to be ahead. I'm in an area where our campus is located, where students typically start their application process late. 85% of students in our Tri-County area don't apply for colleges until the spring semester. At this point, you've cost yourself admissions to many universities that'll shut it off, and you've cost yourself a lot of scholarships that have already been determined. So be ahead and start breaking those bad habits so that you don't bring them into a university with you.
That is all great advice. Thank you very much. So let's talk about financial aid, because you mentioned scholarships, but how does your school award financial aid? And do you, as an institution, offer merit scholarships? If so, what is the process for students to apply? We'll start with Florida Memorial.
See, I like to segue to the next question already and get it started. So for us, we do accept all forms of financial aid. 78% of our students are awarded the Pell Grant. We do have a state of Florida ease grant through the government, which is worth $2,000 a year. So a lot of our students qualify for full financial aid. We typically try to get those award letters out in February, so that way students can start making their decisions. We do rolling admissions here, so we never actually stop the admissions process. We don't have, a May 1st, February 1st deadline or anything like that. So we want to make sure we get that award letter out to you as early as possible. So if you're deciding between us and another school, you have all the information you need. With merit scholarships, our minimum GPA requirement to receive institutional aid is a 3.25 weighted. With a 3.25 weighted GPA, you qualify for us to award you a half tuition scholarship. With a 3.5 weighted GPA, you qualify for us to award you a full tuition scholarship. And with a 4.0 weighted GPA, you qualify for us to cover your entire cost of college, which is your dorm room, your meal plan, your textbooks, everything. We are a private school, but we do follow the state of Florida public school cost model, which is our all-in price for the year, for the dorm room, for the meal plan, for everything. Comes out to about $24,000 for the year, which is very affordable for a private institution. So for us, you can earn those merit scholarships. The process starts in February. Everybody that has qualified for a scholarship gets an essay from the admissions department, letting you know which scholarship you qualified for, and to submit an essay to us. We change the prompt every year. You submit your essay, it goes to scholarship review to a committee, and we make the decisions based off of the content of your scholarship, the grammar and punctuation, your course load in high school. So like Mr. Dossi said, how many dual enrollment credits did you take? How many AP classes did you take? How many IB? How many Cambridge ACE credits did you have? We take a look at that, and we take a look at your extracurricular activities. Did you volunteer? Do you play a sport? Do you work? Are you involved in clubs and orgs? We put all of that into account as part of our rubric. We grade it, and then we send you your scholarship offer. Our three requirements for the scholarship are: you have to enroll by May 1st, you have to apply for financial aid, and you have to maintain a 3.0 GPA 3 or 4 years here for the scholarship to renew. And those are our only requirements.
Well, lots of great opportunities. And let's go to Savannah State.
And we as well offer federal financial aid. One of the things that I encourage students to do is that the actual process opens up for the FAFSA on October 1st. So seniors, you can go out there and you can be able to apply through studentaid.gov and apply for financial aid. Now, the key thing that I encourage students and parents to pay attention to is that once they have filled out that federal financial aid form, is that they go to that last page, which will show everything that's submitted, but it will also provide an EFC number. And that EFC number is what the financial aid office will use to determine if that student is eligible for any Pell or any need-based aid. And they will tell them on that last page of that application that based upon the EFC number, this is what they would get in Pell, this is what they would get in loans. In addition to Pell, they have what is called SEOG money, which is a supplemental education opportunity grant. And you have to be Pell eligible in order to get that. And that's an additional $600 to $1,200 on top of what the student can be able to get in Pell to help them with their educational expenses. Here in the state of Georgia, we have the Hope Scholarship. So all students who are graduating from a Georgia high school that have a 3.0 or higher have an opportunity to get the Hope Scholarship. And I think that Hope Scholarship paid for about 80% of their actual tuition and expenses. We offer merit scholarships here on campus, and we have both internal and external. The GPA can go as low as a 2.0, and it can go as high as a 4.0. And what we encourage students is once they are admitted to the university, they will get a link that will take them to our platform, which is called Scholarship Universe. And in Scholarship Universe, it will have their academic information loaded into that software, and it will only show them the scholarships that they are eligible for based upon the academic information that is placed into that system. So once they log on, they will just only see the scholarships that they are eligible for, and then they can write that essay, and then there's a scholarship committee review that will review the scholarships, and then will let the students know if they're awarded. Now that application normally opens up November 1st, and the deadline is normally March 30th. So students will have that time frame to go ahead and get the documentation in, and then the committee will review it, and then they will award the students accordingly. And also, in addition to, like I said, the internal scholarships, we also have external scholarships that we offer our students as well. So through the Thurgood Marshall Fund, there's scholarships there, as well as some other platforms and some sites that students can be able to kind of go out there to see what aid is possibly available to supplement their education.
Wow, many opportunities there as well. That's great. Thank you. All right, so this is our last question, and I'll ask you if there's anything else that you want to share about your institution, and what is one piece of advice about the admission and college search process that you would like to share with students? And we'll start with Savannah State.
A couple of things I would share in regards to advice. When you are looking at a college, a couple of things that you need to take in consideration. One, price. So many students I talk to, whether it's Savannah State or wherever they want to go, have you researched the institution to find out how much it was? No. If there are parents that are watching this, the advice that I will give to you is that have an open, honest communication with your students about your finances. I know I was from an era that parents don't tell you don't tell your children how much you make. No. If you're now talking about college and financing it, you need to have an honest conversation with your students about finances, so that way they would know what schools you can afford and what schools you cannot afford. Location. Find out where the institution is located. I know a lot of students that I talk to tell me, oh, I want to go far off. And in essence, that sounds good. But I said, take in consideration if there's an emergency. If there's an emergency, it's easy for your parent to come across town if it's in Savannah, or maybe 2 to 3 hours away, as opposed to going 2 or 3 states away to get into contact with you. So look at that. Look at the admissions requirements. Find out if the institution requires an essay. If it's rolling admissions, is it selected admissions, and make sure that you meet those deadlines and meet those deadlines early. And then again, plan, and prepare. I tell students, if you fail to plan, you're planning to fail. And for those students who are seniors this year, if you say you're going to college, and if you have not heard back, as a matter of fact, let me back it up. If you haven't applied nor heard back from a college by December, you're too late. You still have time, but you're too late. So you have to plan this process, as well as also from the financial standpoint. Make sure that you have your funding in place. By December, you should have heard back from one of your institutions. And by graduation, you should not only know where you're going, but you should know how you're going to finance it. Because the worst thing you can do is wait until you get ready to go into move-in and go into that college campus and have not all your ducks in a row, and have to be told by that individual at an institution that you cannot attend because you didn't plan. So those are just a few pieces of advice that I would give to students as they're looking through the college search process. Definitely find out how much it costs, find out the location, find out opportunities for you can visit the campus, because that's how you're going to know whether that campus is a good field for you. So when you have selected at least 3 to 6 colleges is what I normally encourage students. Find out when those colleges have some type of a visitation program and go and visit that college and ask those questions. Ask about the internships, ask about the graduation rate, ask about job placement. Those are some of the things that you need to know, so that way you can make sure that you're making the best of your investment in regards to your education.
That's some great advice. Thank you very much. And let's wrap it up with Florida Memorial.
Everything Mr. Dossi said, you can pretty much guarantee comes from mistakes he's seen students make already. He's already seen from years of experience the mistakes students have made through this process, and it's kind of telling you what not to do and what you should do based off of errors he's seen in the past. Some of the things that I see that I think, make me cringe a little bit is when a student only applies to one school. They have their heart set that they're going to this school no matter what. What if that school doesn't accept you? What if when you visit their campus, it's not a good fit, it's not a good feel for you? You don't want to put yourself in a situation where you're dealing with best case scenario and worst case scenario. Best case scenario, I get into the school, but if you don't, now you're down to the worst case scenario. As Mr. Dossi said, once you get into May and you're at graduation, if you don't have your ducks in a row, you're going to end up going to community college for a year, for a semester, for 2 years. So why risk that by only applying to one school? I had a student recently tell me on a field trip that whichever is the first school that accepts her, that's where she's going to enroll because she feels bad saying no. I'm going to be very honest with you. When I deny a student, I don't feel bad. If I deny you from getting into my school, I don't lose sleep over it because you didn't meet our requirements. So don't lose sleep over having 20, 25, 30, 50 colleges send you acceptance letters and you having to withdraw or deny your acceptance from 49 of them. It's the best option for you for college. Definitely go and visit. Our school, I can give an example. We are a tiny campus. If you want to go to a school that has a Chick-fil-A and a Chipotle and a Chili's on campus, that's not us. So if you have your heart set on us, but you think we're that big school and you come here, you're going to know right away once you step on campus if it's a good feel for you or it's not a good feel for you, if you feel at home. The other thing is when you're applying, please apply with a personal email address and not your school email address. A lot of the districts have firewalls that block emails coming from universities to school email addresses. So please use a personal email address and please try to make that email address as professional sounding as possible. I read applications all day long, and having an email come from Twerk Queen 36 is not a good way to get into college because right now I've already put in the back of my mind that we're going to have a problem. So please, first name, last name at yahoo.com, at hotmail.com will suffice. We're not going to judge you based off of your email address being boring. We just want the information from you. So please visit, do your research, be early, follow deadlines like Mr. Dossi said. For us, we have rolling admissions, so it doesn't matter to us when you apply. However, you might miss our scholarship deadline on February 1st. You might miss our housing deadline on May 1st. So you can enroll, but you might miss a scholarship and you might miss your opportunity to live on campus. So research the schools, find out the deadlines, find out the requirements, and be early.
All right, more great advice. Panelists, thank you so much. You shared so much information in this short period of time, and we really appreciate it. Viewers, thank you for watching. Don't forget to visit each of these colleges' virtual booths to connect and learn more. We encourage you to take advantage of the other college panels, the workshops, and virtual booths found within Basecamp. On behalf of the Scholar Track team, thank you to everyone for tuning in.